I'm on my way to Edinburgh to pedal on Parliament. Pedal on Parliament was established 10 years ago and holds annual rallies, bringing together cycle users from all over Scotland to meet in front of the Scottish Parliament building. The aims are to keep pressure on politicians to deliver on proper funding for active travel, to design cycling for all ages and abilities into Scotland's roads, and to implement and enforce safer speeds where people live, work and play. I still bear the physical scars and pain the result of injuries received 55 years ago when I was knocked off my bike when cycling to school by an inattentive driver. The collision didn't put me off cycling, but I'm sure it's a contributory factor in my attitude to road safety and the need for more and better infrastructure for active travel. I'd hoped to have a few others riding along with me, but due to holidays and other reasons, I'm on my own. However, there are a number of local feeder rides heading for the rally from around Edinburgh's suburbs. My aim is to tag on to one from Corstorphine. It was due to leave Gyle Park at 11:30 prompt. Thanks to the wind and delays at road crossings, I'm running a wee bit behind. It's 11:37 and I've already left. Not to worry, I catch up with the ride at their first stop, further along into Corstorphine. It's great to see so many children riding with their parents, and it's apparent that this group organises bike buses for group rides to school and is well prepared for riding defensively on the roads to protect the youngsters. I'm very impressed by the confidence and ability of the young riders. At every junction the group seems to be growing. We make our way past Murrayfield, through Roseburn and Dalry, and negotiate the tight turns up to Fountain Bridge, where we stop to regroup before crossing busy Dundee Street as we head up to the Union Canal towpath. One member of the group stops to find a broken spoke, but he's well prepared and is able to tape it up and carry on.
Broken spot, but he's catching up.
The only safe way to cross the junction at the King's Theatre is to wait for a green light and then block the traffic until the whole ride passes. Yep. We're soon queuing on the narrow path leading to the crossing at Melville Drive into the Meadows. Numbers are growing rapidly, and we meet more coming from all directions at Middle Meadow Walk. I follow on behind these two hand cyclists up to Forest Road and then into the throng of cyclists in Chambers Street, which is the assembly point for the Pedal and Parliament ride. Turns out that one of these guys is the hand cycle land speed world record holder, who'll be speaking later for more and better inclusive infrastructure that accommodates the needs of all types of cyclists and those who are disabled, relying on wheeling as their main form of transport. The crowd is growing by the minute as I weave through it. Edinburgh police have their bicycle fleet out to accompany the ride. There are cycling clubs, family groups, old, young, able and less able here. There are regular city hybrid bikes, all shapes and sizes of cargo bikes, e-bikes and folding bikes, gravel bikes, recumbent bikes, road bikes, touring bikes and vintage bikes, trailers, tricycles, tag-alongs and tandems. The official attendance verified by the police is estimated at 2,000 riders. The ride gets going and progresses up George IV Bridge, down the High Street, and then because of major roadworks at a junction further down the Royal Mile, the route diverts down Coburn Street and along Market Street behind Waverley Station and along past Edinburgh City Council headquarters, before the short but steep climb up New Street to rejoin the Royal Mile on Canongate. At the foot of Canongate, the ride swings round with Holyrood Palace on the left and the Scottish Parliament building on the right. We finish below the slopes of Salisbury Crags, on the grass in front of the Parliament building, where we spread ourselves out in the sunshine to await the speeches.
Emily and Jamie, make it in.
No, they were just behind me for a bit.
Hello! How many people have got bells? Give your bells a ring just now so I can hear. That's about 4 bells of it, yeah. For anyone that doesn't know, it's been 10 years since the first Edinburgh Parliament way back in 2012. Okay folks, listen up, here we are. We're going to start the business end of the Edinburgh Parliament where there's going to be a few speeches. But just before I do, I just wanted to just make a few comments just to get things to point out, etc. So as we mentioned earlier on, this is actually 10 years since Edinburgh Parliament. So again, who was here at the first Edinburgh Parliament? No, there was more the last time I asked that. Who was here at the first Edinburgh Parliament? Me!
I didn't record the speeches. The speakers were a bit far away to be picked up by the camera's microphone, and there was music playing behind me that would likely have raised copyright issues with YouTube. But as I headed home, the speeches were all fresh in my mind. I've decided to take a different route home, following the towpath of the Union Canal, which is level and reasonably smooth all the way back to Broxburn, where I'll join the A89 cycleway for the last wee climb up to Livingston. But there's another reason for me to return by the canal. I have a wee detour in mind that's both nostalgic for me and in many ways is relevant to why I came all this way today and echoes what Peddling Parliament is all about. I'm taking a wee detour off the towpath at Harrison Park to ride through the Shandon area, where I was born and grew up. This cluster of shops in Ashley Terrace was the bustling heart of the community. My grandfather was a pharmacist and set up his business in a shop at the end of the row on the right. In due course he was joined by my father, who trained and qualified in both pharmacy and optics, setting up an optical practice in the back of the shop. I swing round into Shandon Street, where my grandparents lived and my father grew up. My grandparents came here about the time these flats, shops and homes were constructed. Returning back to Ashley Terrace, I pass the flat where my wife and I set up our first home. Pausing outside the shop that was once the family business, now a dog grooming parlour, I see that the bell push bearing my father's name and business is still there in the wall by the stair door, a wee reminder of what was once there. As I look around, I can see in my mind's eye the bakery, the dairy, the newsagent, the sweetie shop, both butchers, the greengrocer, the general grocer and the ironmonger. Nowadays there are calls for 20-minute neighbourhoods and low-traffic neighbourhoods where people can live, work and play within walking or cycling distance, where society can be less dependent on motor vehicles. Somewhere along the way we've lost what we had just a couple of generations ago, but we seem to recognise its value, and now organisations like Peddling Parliament are asking our politicians to make the changes we need to get it back. Another of Peddling Parliament's aims is to push for implementation and enforcement of safer speeds where people live, work and play. As the traffic speeds by me, a memory from 40 years ago comes to mind. It's the memory of an 8-year-old, fair-haired boy who was crossing the road just down from where I am now, a blue Ford Capri car being driven too fast for the conditions, and the wailing of an inconsolable mother as her child's lifeless body was lifted into the back of an ambulance. Yes, speed limits need to be enforced, but the attitude of drivers and the risk that they pose to other road users needs to be changed too. as I make my way to my last destination on this nostalgic detour, to the street where I was born and where I spent my early years, there's one speech that I heard today that's ringing in my ears. It was the shortest, the most eloquent, and the clearest in both its message and the voice of the speaker who delivered it. An 11-year-old schoolboy, Andy I think was his name, pointed out that he was just 1 year old when the first pedal on Parliament was held, and that he can't wait another 10 years for politicians to make cycling safe. He closed his speech with this: "I want to ride with my friends safely now. How many children are now adults while you debated and consulted? How many children have missed out because changes have been too slow?" It's been a good day. Even better is that I have the wind at my back, the sun on my face, and being a contour canal, the towpath is level all the way to Broxburn.
Thanks, folks.
If you've stayed with me this far, congratulations, and I hope you've enjoyed the ride. Ride with me again, lost in Livy.